Fire Escape Academy Inspector training video. Here we are across the street from, or across the way from One Broad Parkway here in White Plains, New York. Have existing fire escapes. We're looking for evidence of maintenance. There's evidence of they have been keeping things painted, but we're looking for evidence of maintenance and anything but square head bolts and rust buildup. So a lot of times these fire escapes that are tucked away all have problems. And this building on the other side has a life safety issue on one of its treads. And if these are the same age, there's probably some life safety issues on this one. And what happens is, as people do work on these, and I'll give you an example, here's another one. This actually looks like a split building. Looks like two ownerships because the left side is painted and the other side is a different brown. So, but let's take a look at this situation. Original hardware. Original rivets right there, square heads, no evidence of maintenance, but look at the missing tread. Missing tread. All this time they've been painting it and doing everything, and there's a missing tread. So this is a life safety issue. An occupant coming down won't see that and fall through. Could be a child fall all the way through. Could be a fireman going up, won't see that and fall through, get hurt, get jammed up. Original hardware everywhere. Rust still stayed. Rust is in the joints. So this fire escape is suspect. Even though they painted it, it's all original hardware. There's no evidence of maintenance, but plenty of evidence of rust buildup in every joint. All square head bolts on the entire fire escape. Left side and right side. So it can't really be about the ownership of the building. It's about nobody ever did a structural evaluation on this, then painted. And that's one of the things you have to concern yourself. But this fire escape does have a life safety issue in that again, the treads are missing. And this is again up on the hill behind One Broadway Park or Broad Parkway fire escapes here in White Plains, New York. And we have some more fire escapes on this side. Again, when you're looking at it, it's all, how you doing? Original hardware. Original hardware is the main issue. Treads, supports. I also have this fire escape here on this side also. Same thing, original hardware, painting. Those all need to be inspected first, then the paint job can come, but there's no missing tread on this one. But there's evidence of rust jacking, original hardware, original supports, original ladders. Any questions? Fire Escape Academy Inspector Training. Fire Escape Academy Inspector Training video. We're here in White Plains, New York, looking at fire escapes. We're here in Parkway Drive, or Parkway, Broad Park, Brentwood, next to Brentwood condominiums. We're looking at these fire escapes. Must be structurally sound, must be kept painted. A lot of these, they keep throwing paint on them. What they don't do is change any bolts. This fire escape is suspect. Look at that blown out connection right there. Looking for any evidence of maintenance. Rivets swapped out. And on the front, squares, 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 and up all the entire staircase, rivets. No evidence of maintenance, no new shiny head bolts. So this entire fire escape, aside from having other issues such as rust growing in the connections, it's all original hardware all the way up to the top. You're gonna get rust in the treads, in the back. And once the treads get rust, then you have problems. They start dropping out, as you can see there. So side by side, you know, this fire escape next to it. And a lot of times the treads will dangle. So let's see if this one has any evidence of maintenance. No evidence of maintenance. Corners, all 50 to 75 year original hardware. Square heads, no hex heads to be found anywhere. Ladder drops. Let's see what this is. One Broad Parkway, I believe. Those were recently inspected. They have life safety issues also. Let's take a look here. Actually, let's stay on this one, and then we'll go over to this one. So, original hardware on that fire escape also. Let's take a look at this one. This one's a great one because it's right near our feet, so we can take a look. So, original hardware, that's what square head bolts look like. See all the rusty tears underneath? That means that water's been getting on top of these and rusting these out. And when the water gets in there, like it does right there, water gets in there, does that, starts eating up all the rust, starts eating up all the bolts. And it's only a matter of time before something pops and a tread drops and somebody gets hurt, whether it be an occupant or whether it be a tenant. I mean a fireman. See all that rust? See all that rust right there? That tread's ready to go. Let's see right around the corner here if we have any treads ready to go on this building, which I believe is across from one broad. Let me see if, oh, another staircase right there. And let's see if there's anything that we can call a life safety issue. Oh, right there. So there's a dangling tread right there. Let's go take a look at that one. We can quickly show that as a training video. So, even though the bolt is still there, the heads are still there, the tread has fallen. Look at all the rust buildup on there. See? And now we've got a tread that's a false tread. It's going to hurt an occupant or a tenant. But that's not the only one ready to go. Every single one of these, all the way up, these 7 stories, has loose treads ready to go. So this could be problems in the middle of the night. This could be issues when tenants lock themselves out. Somebody goes up and down these staircases. So this fire escape here on this building across from one Broad has life safety issues at this fire escape right there. Let's see if we can find any original hardware or any change of hardware on any of these fire escapes across the way there. Seeing none. Those over there. So a lot of times these have just been scraped and painted for 50 to 75 years, but they've never been repaired. And a lot of them showing bulges, expansion, cement problems, and they all have original square heads and or rivets on the entire fire escape. And we're up again here on the hill, and it's the Broad Parkway area. And this fire escape does have a life safety issue, treads that are fallen. Any questions? Fire Escape Academy, Inspector Manessa's here, 800-649-3333. We're in White Plains, New York. Fire Escape Academy, Inspector training videos. Here we are in 2 Windsor Terrace. Fire escape must be structurally sound, must be kept painted. And here we have fire escapes that have been kept painted. Now we're looking for evidence of maintenance, and that is, instead of square head bolts, which is what these are all, just looking for any evidence that some bolts have been changed. And on this one, as you can see, this fire escape here, as well as this fire escape here, has all the original hardware. If this building's 50 to 75 years old, there's no evidence of maintenance. And that's impossible in such a fire escape to not have, minimally in 50 to 75 years, at least one swap out of the bolts, including the treads primarily. But that's not the case here. So this fire escape, as well as this fire escape, has not been certified. Let's take a look at this one across the street and see if we can find any evidence of maintenance on this one. All right, so must be structurally sound, must be kept painted. So it looks like they've been throwing paint on a lot of these, but look at all the severe corrosion, cement problems, original hardware on the treads. As you can see, all the treads, original hardware, rust, blowouts in the corners. This is the same fire escape that the guy over there is using to do some masonry work on the building. You may be able to see the guy up there. But here we have a fire escape that looks like a sister fire escape to the other one. Paint has been thrown on it, but all the structural is the same, 100% structural. It's all original hardware on this fire escape. Again, Fire Escape Academy, Inspector training video. Inspector Manessa's here, 800-649-3333. We're here in White Plains, New York.
The smoke, the flames, and the frightened faces, all in a firefighter's line of duty. But Chief William Hitchcock remembers the night it wasn't the fire that almost stopped him.
Oh, I was scared to death.
But the fire escape that broke underneath him.
Where the railing just came away from the building.
And our investigation found across Massachusetts more unsafe fire escapes. Rusty, deteriorating, crumbling, broken. And what state officials didn't know, the system they set up to keep fire escapes safe is also falling apart.
The potential ramifications are disastrous.
So let's look at this one. This expert ironworker is licensed to build, maintain, and inspect fire escapes.
So then over here,
For months, we examined dozens of them with alarming results.
looking at this today, would this pass inspection?
No.
In dormitories, at theaters, at homes, and apartment buildings.
Rust is actually eating away the metal of the
Correct.
fire escape.
Correct.
And the bottom line?
It'll get weak and then eventually it'll fall.
This one has rotted connections. This one missing bolts, twisted metal.
Would the stairs come down?
No, never come down.
This one a broken tread.
So how dangerous is it for the people inside this building?
This fire escape is definitely going to put somebody either in the hospital or it's going to put somebody in a cemetery.
Fire escapes are so critical. The state building code requires they be certified for structural adequacy and safety every 5 years. But our investigation found that safeguard is simply being ignored. Here's proof. We chose fire escapes at random in Boston, Somerville, Cambridge, Worcester, and here in Quincy. We checked building department files
But there's no fire escape certification.
Not in this file.
to see if building owners had submitted their mandatory inspection reports.
There's no certification in this one either.
Right.
Bottom line, not one we checked in Quincy had been certified as safe. And the director of inspectional services admitted because of staffing shortages, the city has no idea how many other fire escape owners are breaking the rules.
And as a result, do you know how many fire escapes in your city are safe or not?
Well, I don't know.
In Worcester, not one we checked was certified. In Somerville,
No.
4 more fire escapes,
Did it fall through the cracks? Yeah.
not one up-to-date certification. And again, no system for keeping track.
How can they get away with that?
I guess that the shortest answer of all is because we don't have the resources to sit here and follow up on these things.
If structural deficiencies are reported, local building inspectors can actually evacuate residents until repairs are made.
Would you talk to us on camera about this? No?
But when we surveyed 24 more communities, most admitted they had no idea how many fire escapes were certified. In Taunton, inspectors told us they haven't seen a certification in 25 years. Northampton officials said it's a cold day in hell when that happens. In Cambridge, too, not one of our test buildings was certified, and the official in charge would not come out to discuss it. In Boston, where there are more than 8,000 fire escapes, again, according to inspectional services, not one we checked was certified. Officials know they are required to enforce the building code, but they admit they don't always know if owners are breaking the law.
The building code is being ignored.
Right, but it's difficult to write a violation when you don't have knowledge of something like that.
But state officials say for a critical issue like this, communities should know. And they warn the Massachusetts building code is not optional.
Does it worry you that these fire escapes are not being certified?
This is an important issue and should not be ignored.
That's because after the smoke and flames begin, it'll be too late to learn you've got no way out.
I can't stress it enough, Hank, that these things have to be maintained and someone's got to be watching.
As a result of our investigation, state officials will now issue an alert to local inspectors. Meanwhile, if there's a fire escape on your home or office, you can contact your local building department to make sure it's properly certified. In the newsroom, I'm Hank Philippi Ryan.
Fire Escape Academy Inspector Training video. We're here in White Plains, New York. And we're looking at fire escapes that must be structurally sound, must be kept painted. And this is just a inspector training video. Let's see if we can find anything on this fire escape that shows evidence of maintenance. Must be structurally sound, must be kept painted. So they have been painting their fire escapes. They're looking up the entire fire escape. All I can see on this entire fire escape is nothing but original hardware. Going up all the treads, nothing but original hardware. Rusted on the connections and original hardware. So that's an indication that this, like many other fire escapes in this area, and we're right here next to Windsor Terrace, and those fire escapes over there did not pass. These fire escapes, looks like they've just been keeping them painted, but they've never really done any structural work to them. So these things do build up over time, rust in the connections. So these fire escapes here, I would consider suspect simply because if you were trying to load test these today, the bolts are all 50 to 75 years old, and there's no evidence of any maintenance on any of these connections, so I would not load test this fire escape. All the treads are original hardware. Now, as we hear some noise in the background, I got a guy working up on a building, masonry guy, and there he is right up there. And this is what's important, is that, you know, these fire escapes are sometimes used by people to do repair work. And it's those guys doing repair work, they're relying upon the structural adequacy of the treads, which he's got his platform through. And he's acting on the reliance of that rail on the edge there. And if should something happen to that fire escape, I don't know if he's got a harness on or not. It looks like he might have one, but I don't know what he's tied off to. But masons do work on the wall all the time, and they use fire escapes all the time. But that fire escape has to be certified. Otherwise, if that tread lets go or that rail lets go, he's going to fall to his death unless he's harnessed. So, Fire Escape Academy Inspector Training video. The do's and don'ts of fire escapes throughout. We're here in White Plains, New York. Any questions? 800-649-3333. Fire Escape Academy Inspector Training videos. Here we are in White Plains, New York. Windsor Terrace 30. Just doing a quick little walkthrough, see if you have anything on this fire escape that would make this fire escape structurally suspect. A lot of rust, corrosion. A lot of rust, corrosion on the ladder system. Cement issues. Original hardware. Most fire escapes must be structurally sound, must be kept painted. This fire escape is painted, but now look at all the treads. All the treads have severe rust in the connection. You step on those, and those will start coming down. So I'm looking for evidence of any maintenance. I don't see any on this fire escape. Not one new shiny bolt on this fire escape. So this fire escape is suspect simply because of its age. The only way to truly confirm that it's ready, it's a load test and or rebolt 100%. Look at this one down here. Look at the all that rot there, rotted corners, treads. If you look up, sometimes you can just see fallen treads, but there's rust on top, there's rust underneath. All original hardware, rivets, cement situations, cement issues. And again, this is just a walk around, looking for issues of connection. Look at how much rust is in that bottom. So, in Fire Escape Academy Inspector Training videos, we're here in White Plains, New York, and this fire escape here on Windsor Terrace is suspect due to the fact that no evidence of maintenance. Has been kept painted though, but all original hardware and rust accumulation in all the joints is indicating that this fire escape is suspect and would not pass a load test today. Any questions? Fire Escape Academy. This is Inspector Meneses, 800-649-3333. Training. Here we are in Lowell, Massachusetts. Bob, say your last name. Marsiglia. Italiano? Si. We're here looking at, he's the building commissioner in the city of Lowell, and we have a fire escape right down by our feet. What's the greatest thing about this is we're going to be able to see all the rust in the connections. We're going to see all original hardware and squares. We're going to basically, he had a class today, and what we're basically looking at is a fire escape that no more paint is on it. So this is a perfect one because I can get my nose right into it. And this is a perfect example of everything that can go wrong with a fire escape. Let's talk about this one. And then we're going to go look at these other ones and a big monster that's on the back. So this may be a 10 to 15 minute video, but what is on here works there. So let's take a look. More paint and rust or more rust and paint? So that's all you need. Let's say they knew you were coming, Bob, and they painted this thing 100%. What are you looking for next?
The original hardware.
Original hardware. So let's show people what original hardware is. This is a square bolt. Square bolts. Square bolts. And some of these, so now let's stay underneath here before we get on that side, Bob. How about grading? Any popped grading of the spacers?
Yeah, the spacers are missing.
So what that means is when a fireman or a person steps and your leg goes through that, you get locked. You can't save yourself because now you're trapped with a bear trap. How about rusty tiers? Any rusty tiers indicating that water's getting into the connection?
Yeah, right there in front of
How about cement blowout into the back?
you. Yeah, you can see that too.
See cement blowout. Okay, let's take a look. Any damage from a truck or anything? Any bends on this fire escape?
So
Okay.
it looks like that might have been hit.
Got hit. Let's take a look at is it square heads or rivets on the supports? Are those original or have they been switched out in the past 50 to 75 years?
No, the originals.
Original. To let this fire escape rust this much, how many years? To get 100% of your paint off your fire escape?
25 at least.
At least 25. Is there any paint that you can still see left?
Can't
But even though there's no more paint on this, does this thing, which is older than 1978, have lead still in it?
Yes.
So it still has lead. Let's look at all the rust in between the connections. All this rust. Let's look at your treads. Missing spacers?
Yes.
And let's look over here underneath. Better before you climb up above. If I had my hammer, I'd do a hammer test. Any rust in any of the connections?
Rust in all of them.
Rust in all of them. The bulge. You can see all the bulges, right?
Yeah.
Is there any of them that if you were looking up straight up, can you see the sky if you look straight up on some of these? You look over here. You see that one right there? Can you look straight up?
Yeah.
How about this one over here? See all the rust? Any of these bolts that are holding as best they can, any of them totally gone? Are they all suspect in your mind?
All suspect, yeah.
Would you allow any of these to be welded and remain in place? Because that's a typical repair.
This has a, on the top 1/4-inch gap.
Yep. Now let's see how it lands on the ground. Is this all rotting on the ground?
It's all rotted out on that side especially. The channel is completely rotted out.
So the channel is completely gone over there? Okay. So, and how much rust? 1/4 inch every 25 years. How long you got of rust there?
Well, that's 75 years of rust there.
75 years. All these treads are 1/4, 3/8, 1/2 inch. If I was to stomp along on these, you think some of these would give way? Some of them have been patched with some welded bars. This is a typical repair when these flats give out.
Yes.
Lots of bends and smashes. I'll go slowly up this fire escape. I won't go too far, but you got enough evidence here that this is a perfect candidate of how bad things get when you just leave it alone. Have your inspectors ever walked down these alleyways?
Yes.
And why didn't they write this one up?
Well, we haven't had the program yet. But we have.
Maybe they did and nobody paid attention. Maybe they didn't know what to look for. And if it ain't broke, why fix it? There's also other reasons too. It's just it's not the priority. People think these are great. They've always been great. That nobody's ever fell 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Nobody fell 50 years ago. And they think that these things are indestructible. But now this is what I call a hidden time bomb. This is a grenade with a pin already pulled out of it. A fireman or somebody coming out of that top is going to fall down these stairs and get hurt or jammed or stuck.
Yeah.
So this is part of the 101.3. All exterior steel or wooden stairs.
Correct.
Okay? Is this an exterior steel or wooden stair?
It is.
Is there enough water falling on it?
There's plenty of water falling.
Got obstructions?
Yeah.
This is fairly new. This is 10, 15 years old.
Yeah.
Nailed together. Safe, solid, you think? We wiggle it a little bit? Okay? Does this need to be inspected on the 101.3?
It does.
So all exterior steel or wooden stairs need to be inspected. Need a permit to repair this?
Yes.
Renovator's license?
No paint on it.
No paint on it, but they can stain it. There's no paint. How about this one? All exterior steel or wooden stairs. What is this?
It's steel bulkhead stair combination.
This is a stair. This is an egress. We're missing anything here?
Handrail.
Handrails are missing.
It's over 30 inches.
Let's take a look at that. There's water falling on it. These are all metal. Any bulging rails or this looks like an adaptation to a bulkhead plus a stair,
It is, yeah. That's
but it's
the
missing
bulkhead.
its rail.
Yeah.
It's fairly 15 to 25 years old. You estimate? Does this need to be inspected and have a cert on this?
It does.
Okay, so because it's 101, all exterior steel wooden stairs. Now let's take a look at this one. Now this is going to happen a lot of times. You can't even get access.
Yeah.
So let's talk about access. This door right here, which has a lock, is illegal because now these people cannot egress. It's very simple. On the inside, there's a push bar.
Yeah.
That's all you do. So whenever you have these gates that do whatever this thing is doing here for the trucks, that must be able to be pushed out. So that's a simple modification to make that a crash bar door. And then if you mesh enough of this, you mesh this, then nobody can put their hand in and force the door open.
Right.
So that's a neat, but it's illegal to lock somebody in a cage. Now, let's talk about from down here, and I can't get any more closer, from down here, more paint and rust or more rust and paint on the entire fire escape?
It's about equal, I would guess, but
Right,
mostly
so-
paint, mostly rust.
Mostly rust, so it needs a paint job. Now, from down here, and I know you can't see to the 5th or 6th floor. You just need to look at the 1st floor. Any evidence of maintenance, any shiny hex head bolts in this 50 to 75-year-old structure?
No, I see a mix of square head and rivets.
Okay, square heads and rivets,
So it's 50 to 75
50 to
years
75 years old. No evidence of maintenance.
old. No evidence.
Is every connection on there suspect then?
Yes.
Any release arm on there that you can see that would let that
I
cantilever
can't-
drop 2 to 3 feet per second?
I can't see a release mechanism.
So you're not sure whether even the cantilever is balanced correctly.
Correct.
and you're looking into the cement into the walls. Anything that you want to share? That can you see any rusty tears and any of the cement going up?
Yeah, I see signs of spalling and rust.
Okay.
At the
So
connection.
right from here, and what about the grading? Let's talk about the grading.
Yeah, you can see the spaces are rusted out.
Spaces are rusted out in a lot of the grading. So again, as an inspector from down below, and you start looking up, a lot of these buildings that are 50 to 75 years old have not seen a certification in at least 25 years. And it'd be great if they had a tag, and it'd be great if you can get out of this building in case there was a fire.
Yeah.
But here in this one little alleyway, we have a major egress system, and you talked about ACs in the windows, which is illegal. And you have units in in front of windows that people have to use to get out.
Well, they got the windows blocked off.
The windows are blocked off with cages. Again, a lot of that was because of security issues, but that's not your. They have to resolve
They
that.
have doors that lead out to the.
And they have doors, but sometimes the windows are the only means for another apartment. The doors
Yeah.
are from a hallway, but every now and then to satisfy that piece of the building, they use the window to get. That's why they put that little add-on. So don't think if all of a sudden there's a hallway door feeding it.
Yeah.
There has to be a reason why they put that little half circle there. That half circle is to pick up that window to meet the means of egress inside, because that is the only second means of egress for that apartment is through the window, which is now blocked by ACs and units. So right from here, you have a fire escape. So right in this building, in this alleyway, and I don't think we have any more down here, you have what 101 covers. Wood, all exterior wood or steel, fire escapes. And this one is the best because all original hardware on this one. And this was a great one. Don't you think that it showed everything that could go wrong with a fire escape, it showed on this one. And this is what you use in training. And look at the staircase. See the whole stringer, how it clips up there?
Yeah.
All original hardware. So sometimes it's not the treads that'll kill you, it's the whole staircase will let go and fall to the ground. So we're going to go look at some more fire escape Academy Inspector Training. We're here in Lowell with Bob, the commissioner. And in this city, you touch a fire escape in the city, he wants a permit, he wants a renovator's license, he wants engineer oversight. Otherwise, this fire escape will not be allowed to be certified, or he wants a load test. Fire Escape Academy Inspector
Fire Escape Services. We provide inspections and certifications, repairs, and load tests to remove violations in your area and nationwide.
So whether you're an inspector or whether you're somebody, you have your own home, you have your own building, the first thing is the law is very clear. It must be structurally sound and must be kept painted. So is the fire escape painted or is it not painted? And does it have more paint than rust or more rust than paint? So I can just look at this fire escape and say that I have evidence right now that there's more rust than paint on this fire escape. So immediately, if you were to call an inspector out here, the law doesn't allow him to pass this fire escape simply because it has more rust than paint. And structural means that if the fire escape is 50 to 75 years old, when any inspector is looking at it, he's got to see some evidence of maintenance. And maintenance means that I have to see a change in bolts, I have to see a change in rivets, I have to see some new hardware. Because when I go up to a fire escape, I see nothing but original hardware. That hardware is 50 to 75 years old. It's been out in the weather 50 to 75 years, and it's just impossible for not one of those rivets, one of those bolts to be changed in 50 to 75 years. And whenever that occurs, what I have is a fire escape that somebody's been constantly painting, but they've never done anything structurally to it. So now that makes the entire fire escape pretty much suspect. So now I have to be careful as to what I'm looking at to make sure that the structural now, on especially the major structural connections, are in good order.
Thank you for watching our video. Please call us today at 800-649-3333 to discuss your fire escape issue with a live inspector or schedule an inspection in your area today.